Good evening. I'm Trudy Nelson. I'm here with Kellen Turner, a senior political science major from Newark, Delaware. Mr. Turner, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right, Trudy Nelson.
Nice to have you. So, Mr. Turner, in August of this year, you were arrested. Tell me about that.
Well, I was it was late one evening, and I was going to attend a friend of mine housewarming. This is a female friend that also attends Howard University, and that I grew up with. So I had to make my appearance, even though I was a little bit late. So I get down there. She lived in Hydesville, and at the time I was staying in the Towers. So I had to take the metro to go see her. So I get there, and we basically had an arrangement where I stayed for a little bit, and then she would drop me back off. So I stayed there, and there's like, people were eating and drinking and having fun, but for the most part, it wasn't anybody that was there drunk, and there wasn't any hard liquor really being consumed. We were out there just having fun, and then something happened where something was stolen from the house, and it was presumed that it was property of one of my friends. So the the my friend's guests, as well as me, we tried to follow my friend who was chasing the alleged robbers out of the house. We tried to basically go collect her, make sure she was okay, and also try to see if we could recover the stolen property. That was pretty much to no avail, and we couldn't find where she'd wandered off to. So when we all arrived back at the apartment complex, we discovered her, and she told me to come outside with her, so that I guess we could let the police know what happened, because she had made a complaint and called to the police. We get outside, there are police there, and she begins to complain to the officer, and we're under the assumption that they're out there for our, I guess, grievance. Later, I found out that they had already been in the area for a previous disturbance. When we were talking to the officer, he wasn't treating us as if he was trying to solve an issue. It was more so like he wanted us to go away, because he was cussing at me, telling me to go away, or he was going to do something, threatening me basically with either locking me up or doing bodily harm to me. Once I backed up, I began to talk to someone else about what had just occurred, because a lot of it just transpired in the moment. Um, then I guess I hadn't backed up. Now I had backed up a full probably 10 feet, but I guess that wasn't good enough for the officer, because he charged towards me, pointing his finger and cursing at me. So I began to back up and was saying, why are you cursing at me? I don't understand, basically. And another officer approached me from behind. I wasn't aware that it was an officer or what his intentions were in approaching me from behind, but he tried to grab me and apprehend me. I yanked away and subsequently was attacked by probably three more officers who were trying to also apprehend me for basically nothing. I wasn't out there doing anything against the law. I wasn't a suspect in any case in particular. They just basically, I don't know, maybe they had a rough day or something and decided to mess my day up as well. In the process of me being apprehended, I saw clearly another officer in the onslaught of officers that were on this dog pile that they had me in, punched me in my face. He was wearing leather gloves. I felt it against my face. I watched it as it happened. Then the officers cuffed me and dragged me up, had me sitting on the curb, and I was complaining about being punched in the face. And then they were telling me to be quiet if I knew what was good for me. They were going through my identification. As they were going through my identification, they realized that I'm a 21-year-old man. So whether or not I had been drinking that night was none of their business, and I was not intoxicated. Because, and if they had any question about me being intoxicated, they could have breathalyzed me or took a toxicology report. None of those procedures would follow. Um, as they were checking my ID, not to, veer off from what I was saying earlier, as they were checking my ID, they discovered I'm from Delaware, and they were asking what I was doing in Maryland. I told them I go to school at Howard. They saw my Howard ID, and then they saw that I was a federal employee. I was working for the government this summer. And so they gave me all of my identification back except for my federal ID. I don't understand why exactly they kept that. Then I was arrested, thrown in the squad car, and taken in. When I was taken in, a medical report was taken on my eye, and they asked me if I wanted medical attention. And basically, before I could answer, the police officer told the workers in jail that like the paramedic team, that I didn't need medical attention and that he would take care of me. So I didn't really get the right to accept or refuse the medical attention, which is basically a right of a prisoner that comes in wounded. And additionally, in the report later on, it was stated that I was belligerently drunk and that I was so drunk and clumsy that I fell on my face and scraped my face on the ground, face first, as opposed to me being punched in my face, which was what really happened. And now I'm stuck with 64 hours of community service to complete. And that's the story.
Wow. Did you spend the night in jail?
Yeah, I spent the night in jail. I spent from Friday night to Saturday night, either 24 hours or just about 24 hours in jail. And I was denied a phone call. I asked for a phone call specifically, and I was told that they don't do that there at the Hyattsville Police Department or wherever I was. And I wasn't fed either.